It's time for Ask Your Auntie, the show that gets real with teen girls about life. They ask, and we answer with tea. Tools for excellence and achievement. The goal? To help girls make better decisions in real time. When you can't ask your mom or G-Ma, ask your auntie. Now here's your host, Marissa Terrell, Esquire.
Got questions? Ask your auntie. I'm Marissa Terrell, but you can call me Auntie M. I'm director of the High Tea Society Foundation and host of this podcast, Ask Your Auntie, where we provide sugars, also known as teen girls, with reliable answers to their questions. Now, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today. She is a new member, relatively new member of the High Tea Society family, and I had the pleasure of meeting her face to face just a few months ago. Hey, Auntie Kizzy.
Hey.
I love that name.
Thank you.
Is that your real name?
That's my real name.
What?
Yes.
Is there somebody in your family that's named Kizzy?
No. I'll tell you about it.
Oh, it's a story.
Yes.
Okay, great. I can't wait to hear more. All right, so Auntie Kizzy has some really interesting high school stories to share with us today. And I know for a fact that you spent a lot of time mentoring girls.
Yes.
What age?
I like to mentor teenagers.
Okay.
That's what I thought that was my gift to mentor teenagers.
Yes.
But just recently, I spoke to a group of 4th and 5th graders.
Oh, that's a great age.
And I realized, oh no, I'm starting too late. I need to go right to that age group, 4th and 5th grade.
I think that's true. We realized that 5 or 6 years after we started, Judge Terrell, who's the founder, thought, you know what? It's the 5th graders because they are actually quite mature in their thinking.
Yes.
And they're leaders. They are changing the trajectory of families based on their behavior. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when you speak to them and you get them to buy into protecting themselves, to buy into thinking forward, they drag their whole family with them.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
It's very interesting. And I was blown away because I partnered with another organization and I spent 5 weeks with these young ladies and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Already we're thinking this?
Yeah.
Already we're talking like this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that that's what I did in 5th grade. I didn't know. So,
Right,
yeah.
because I'm thinking how bossy I was in the 5th grade. I was the middle girl telling everybody. I remember I consider myself advising my dad on what he needed to be doing.
Yes.
I know they used to look at me like I was crazy, but I took it very seriously that I was really helping the family.
Oh, my goodness. And I thought I was the leader, although I'm the baby in my house.
Okay. I sort of also wanted to think more about, as you're mentoring girls and learning all of those best practices, I'm hoping that part of what we're going to talk about today is sharing some of that information.
Yes.
Now, you've survived 2 high schools, okay? You got 2 places in the DMV, and now you're living your best life. So, Sugars, what do you think? Do you think that Auntie Kizzy is ready to provide us with some information that's going to help us make some good decisions? Because remember our rule, we can't take directions from anyone who is lost, okay? So let's jump in here and learn a bit more about Auntie Kizzy and sort of like where she's from and what she does. So what's your full name?
My full name is Kizzy Dogan. And you asked about Kizzy. It's from Roots. Yes.
Okay, now I have to confess, I could not really make it all the way through Roots because it was very triggering for me at that age because it came out a while ago and I was little. Mm-hmm. Okay, but tell me, what's the story around
So
Kizzy?
my dad and my mom agreed if I had been a girl, he gets to name me. If I was a boy, she would name me. And Kizzy is what he named me, Kizzy Dogan. And I don't know why she went with that, but... 47 years later, here I am.
It sounds like when someone meets you, they want to immediately be your friend. You sound like that. Just sounds like your ace, your wing.
Oh,
wing
I'll
woman,
take that. That's a great new perspective.
Yeah,
to take.
I like it. Okay, so where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Upper Northwest, Walter Reed. I played at Fort Stevens Playground, from Fort Stevens down to Emory, and then about 7th, 8th grade, I moved to Gaithersburg.
Now, Gaithersburg right now seems right around the corner. But back then, I remember it feeling very far away.
Yes.
Did it feel like a whole new planet?
It felt like a whole new planet. I felt like I was in Mars, and then I jumped over to Jupiter. And I remember all of my family and friends kept saying, why is your mom moving all the way out there? Like, it's so far. Yeah. Montgomery County is so far. It was like a place that you didn't go back then.
But they had restaurants. I remember that.
Yes.
They had drive-through restaurants. That is what I remember about Maryland. And it used to be very exciting to me when I would go out there and visit.
Yes.
Okay. But what was Northwest D.C. like back then? Not that it was so long ago, but what was it like? Was it different than it is now?
It still looks the same because when I ride through Northwest, even with all the gentrification and the changes and modifications, it still has the Northwest vibe that I remember. But Northwest back then was a black city. It was Chocolate City for real.
Yeah, for real.
And I mean, even you go into the store, there was black store owners. You go around the corner, there might have been a record store that was owned by black people. So it was a mix of black excellence and people still trying to find their way.
Right, because Walter Reed, that's like, which is all the way different now.
Yes.
Okay, but that's like Howard territory.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of folks who went to Howard who come here for Howard, stay, kind of move in those areas.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It was like that sort of like a Renaissance area. And then it changed.
It changed
a little bit. Okay, but I think that was also the D.C. when neighborhoods were distinct.
Yes.
You'd be like, I'm from Southeast, I'm from North, I'm from the West, whatever.
Yes.
It meant something.
It meant something.
Now,
and definitely,
blended.
I was proud to say I'm an Uptown girl.
Yes, I remember y'all. Oh, God.
Uptown girls. And we would brag and boast about that. Yes.
I remember that, too, because I was Southeast. They'd be like, oh. Like that was supposed to be something. Okay, so tell me about home life. What was home right during this time, high school?
So high school, I had two places. So my mom, who passed away when I was 14 from breast cancer, but we lived in Gaithersburg. Okay. And so I started high school because my mom was kind of sick when I was in 9th grade. Her cancer had returned, and I decided I wanted to go to live with my grandmother, which is my dad's mom, and she lived in Capitol Heights. Okay. And so I had D.C.
Yes, you did.
Then Gaithersburg, and then Prince George's County.
Which was like D.C. again.
Which was like D.C. again. And so I was happy about that. Okay. And I went to Central High School. Okay. And so, I had breakfast in the morning at my grandparents' because my granddad would cook. He would wake me up,
nice.
That type of thing. Okay. I walked to school, but I had chores and responsibilities. But I was kind of like on my own, like an only child over there, because my sister was in Gaithersburg. Okay, so she was older because we're 5 years apart.
Okay, and so were y'all close then? Because I know that type of distance sometimes can either be friction or it's like.
So we were close then. We've always been close. My mom made us be close, even when we wanted to fight. She was like, no. You're all
family first, right? Because I remember when I was younger, part of what my dad used to do, whenever we would argue, he would be like, "No, this is the." You know how you want to tell on somebody? He'd be like, no. You don't do that to your teammate. Like, he used to drill that. This is loyalty. You come as a unit to me.
That's right.
I was like, okay.
Okay, yes.
All right, so high school, Central sounds like a big place.
It actually is a small school.
Really?
Yes.
It sounds huge.
It's a very small high school. Probably 200 or so students at the time, I think.
Much bigger.
No, very small. Or mostly, to me, they weren't D.C., but they weren't Gaithersburg either. So I was like, okay, I guess I can roll with them over here. Okay. I did meet friends. I socialized in high school, easily. I didn't have any fears or any rejections or anything like that. But I didn't embrace high school like most high schoolers.
What was that about?
I thought I was just above my time. Yes. And so,
that Uptown girl.
Yes. And so I just came to do what I had to do, and that was that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's Central, and your other high school.
And my other high school is Gaithersburg. So after 9th grade, I could have stayed with my grandmom, but I decided I wanted to go back to my mom's house. Okay. And I just went back home. Even though she wasn't there, I just wanted to do that. And so I was afforded that opportunity because my aunt was there.
Okay.
And so she became my guardian.
Okay.
And I went back to Gaithersburg High School.
Okay.
And so I remember all those friends from middle school. So I just kind of like picked up right where you left off.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Okay, so I can see you now. Were you like the social butterfly? I feel like you were just everywhere, hanging out, having a good time.
I was a social butterfly because I made friends easily. I've always made friends easily, and I talked in school, made friends in school, but then that was it. I left them right at the door. When I left to get on that school bus, I said, bye, see y'all tomorrow.
Okay. And it was like, that was part two.
Yes.
To the next thing you're doing. That's interesting. Okay. So as we are getting ready to jump into our Q&A segment, is there anybody that you want to dedicate this podcast episode to?
Yeah, so I thought really hard about that question when you asked me that. And it's not one particular girl in person, but I really want to dedicate this to a teenage girl who feels unseen or unheard or just misrepresented.
Love that.
So that's who I dedicate this to.
Okay, Sugar, this is for you.
Yes.
It is for you. Okay, first question, because we start all of our sessions with this. What is Auntie Kizzy's morning routine?
Okay, when I'm focused and disciplined. My morning routine typically is I wake up very early. I'm an early riser. I start with prayer and scripture reading, just talking to God, calming my nerves. And then after I get out of the presence of God, I get right into social media and emails. So I'm guilty. I check my emails. I check my phone, make sure none of my staff have texted me that they're calling out or there's no issues that I need to address immediately. And then I go to social media. And I'm guilty because I waste 15, 20 minutes that I could be doing something more productive, looking on Instagram.
I think we all do that.
Yes. And I also exercise in the morning. Yes.
Now, that's something I'm desperately trying to get in.
Yes.
You can get that in before you go to work.
Yes.
What time do you get up?
Like 5.
Oh, I see.
Yes. I start 5. And I mean, my prayer time is not like maybe 15, 20 minutes. It just depends on what's going on. So I can do that. And if I'm sticking to my schedule, I'm walking by 6:30.
Okay.
You know, I walk the Woodrow Wilson Bridge.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Or around FedEx Field is what I just started over the summer. I've been doing that.
That's nice.
Yes, because it's closer to my house and less traffic. And then I come home and then that's when the crazy starts because I have teenage boys at home that I have to get up and get ready for school. And yes, I still wake them up in the morning.
Well, yes.
Yes. So I want them to be responsible to get up on their own, but I also like the whole concept of me waking them up and getting them ready. But it's crazy town. That's what it is.
I feel like that's the life of when you have teens at home. Crazy and kind of fun, but a little unpredictable, but whatever. That's cool. You mentioned your staff. What do you do?
So I own a facilities maintenance company. We provide janitorial services and other services to operate a building, a commercial property.
Oh, man. Commercial properties all around.
Yes.
So that's really good.
Yes.
That sounds like a great business, especially if you can get some of those government contracts. Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. So here's our second question. Now, not much to it, but I think we can probably pull out something from it. Here's the query. What's so great about high school? I got a sense that maybe this sugar is thinking she maybe is bored with high school. Maybe she is over high school. And that's why I thought this was a perfect question for you.
Oh, it's a very great question. What's so great about high school? High school is a period that you get to discover some of the things you like, discover who you are, discover the things you want to become. And it's like a dress rehearsal, so to speak, because right after high school, it's lights, camera, action. Like, it's showtime at that point. You are into adulthood, and you can still make mistakes, because we all do, but at least in high school, you can kind of recover more quickly.
Right, there's a safety net.
It's a safety net. You have people responsible for you, that can help you out and help you navigate that. So I say embrace high school. Embrace it. It's great. You meet a lot. I still have 2 very good friends from high school that I talk to on a regular basis from high school.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. So what about our sugars out there? And I have to say I was guilty of this too, of just I went through all the motions, meaning my parents insisted that we do well. So I studied, I got the grades, and after that, I wanted to be left completely alone. Like do not ask me, you know what I mean? Because I felt like I have done my part.
Yes.
But what do you say to that sugar who's sort of just getting from, beginning to end and not stopping to kind of interact and get into what are some of the other things going on in high school?
Oh, I would encourage the sugar to please just explore.
Yeah.
Be open to exploring, to try new things, and not just do what's protocol. Mm-hmm. Color outside the lines, And I know this from experience. I did not join any social clubs, not because I was afraid. I just didn't have time. And I don't know why, because I wasn't doing anything.
You said you have a life out of high school.
I wasn't doing anything that productive that prohibited me from having time. That's just what I told myself. Oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. No, explore and meet people and learn new things. High school is great. I think it's a great place to be because I swear adulthood.
It's hard.
It's hard.
One of the cool things about high school is that there are so many people lined up to be helpful to you.
Yes.
But the thing is, you've got to take the first step. So that means that if there's like a teacher who's taken an interest in you, the kind of teacher that gets a little worked up when you don't do your best.
Yes.
Or someone who comes up and they see you're kind of looking a little sad today and they say, what's wrong? Cheer up, whatever. Those kind of people, circle back with them. Talk with them, lunchtime, after school, you see them and say like, hey, Miss so-and-so, Mr. so-and-so, can I talk to you for a minute?
Absolutely.
I'm into sewing. Is there something you think I should be doing? Is there a program around? Like those kind of things.
That's a great thing. A great thing. I tell my sons, it is okay to be the teacher's pet.
Yeah. Okay.
I know you all don't say that anymore, but that's what we used to call them, the teacher's pet. Be the teacher's pet.
Yeah.
Because that's how you start to cultivate relationships.
And they'll look out for you.
And they will look out for you.
Yes.
You want to be top of mind in a positive way.
In a positive way.
Yes.
Because there are, believe it or not, there are resources that teachers get access to.
Yes.
They are looking for the students that rise to the top to give them these opportunities.
Yes.
Make it easy for them to select you.
Yes.
Okay. Be the one that's on their list.
Yes.
Okay, I love that. All right. Here's another question. Why won't my GMA let me date in high school?
Honey.
Why?
I'm going to assume your GMA is old school. And as much as I want to be new school, I'm old school. You don't need to worry about dating in high school because there's a lot of things that come with dating that your grandma or GMA is probably thinking ahead that you're not thinking about. And that's probably why. So dating, there's expectations.
There's expectations. Thank you for using that word. That is the thing. When you sort of, let's define dating first, because maybe everybody has different. Okay. What does dating mean to you, Auntie?
So dating to me is a guy and a girl or 2 love interests going out with the intention of or the expectation of getting to know each other, possibly going to the next level in their relationship, whatever that means. But somebody's paying for it. Somebody's giving, somebody's receiving. And that's what a date is to me. And when I was growing up, the guy paid for everything. Even right now, today, if I go on a date, that is my expectation. And the guy also has an expectation. So that's probably why your GMA is like, no, you don't need to worry about dating because dating leads to other things.
Right, it leads to, okay, so we're on the same page with dating. I'll have to confess, in high school, I was what you call a late bloomer. All right. I went in group settings with lots of groups, guys and girls. We did that kind of thing. Sometimes there would be a couple of guys. I had a lot of friends who were guys, but we weren't really dating. We weren't going out individually by ourselves to different things. They weren't really paying for anything because they had no money.
Exactly.
I didn't date like drug dealers. I didn't date people who had jobs, so they didn't have anything. Maybe a paper route. They could buy me something now later. It's like, I don't know what they can do for me. But it was more like a camaraderie thing. Certainly sex was not into it at all. And so with that, the expectation was very low. The expectation was more like fun. They enjoyed hanging around with me. We had great conversations. We talk about music, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But as you get more serious with people, then those expectations come. Now they expect to have your time. They want you available when they want you available. They want you to drop certain things to deal with them, hang out with them. They might say, I don't want you going to dance class. I don't want you going to this club. I don't want you hanging out with this person.
Yes.
They start putting these expectations on you. And most young women, young girls, teenagers, if they're into somebody, they're going to go along with it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And that's when it starts getting a little uneven sometimes, because the more you're into this person, sometimes the more likely you start to put the things that you like to the bottom.
Dumbing yourself
of
down.
The pile.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. And when you do that, disadvantage, because high school, again, is the time for you to be exposed to things and to try things. How can you do that when somebody's telling you no?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. I remember my grandmother said, you're too young for a study. And I thought, oh, that's so old school. Nobody even says study. What are you talking about? Because I insisted that I had a boyfriend. Oh, Mom. Oh, Grandma, he's my boyfriend. Boyfriend? What? So I understand why she's telling you you're too young today in high school.
Right. And then also, I think sometimes teens, when you're into somebody, you expect them to be only into you.
Yes.
But everybody doesn't have the same expectation of dating.
No.
And then you get your feelings hurt, right?
Yes.
Because they're all over the place and you've maybe shared some things, intimate things with them, and it sort of makes you feel bad. So save that.
Save it.
For the person who's serious.
Be as casual as you can possibly be and as unattached as you can possibly be throughout high school.
Yes, agreed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we have really dived into that one, and hopefully, Sugar, there's something in there that you can pull out that will help you as you're making decisions right now. Okay. What about this one? You mentioned earlier part of your morning routine involved prayer. Now, I know that lots of folks have different definitions. This is a question. Does prayer ever make things better?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always, all the time, make things better. It doesn't make it better right then and there. I would be lying if I tell you that, I get up in the morning and I pray and it's done. No. However, when you have a relationship with God or your higher power, mine is Jesus, I say, come on, Jesus, now.
Okay.
You know your girl, you're going to have to fix this, But the more I pray about it, the calmer I get. Yeah. The peace comes over me, the wisdom comes, the resolution comes. Something will come to me and will let me know that, this is going to work out. Yeah. May not be how I want it, but it's going to work out. So yes, prayer all the time works and makes things better.
I love that. How do you pray? Is it on your knees, like formal prayer? Like what do we?
No, I'm not a formal prayer. Get on your knees, bow your heads, and no. In the morning, I don't even get out the bed. I lay right there in my bed and I start just talking and praying. I used to use my actual Bible to read the scriptures, but now I'm on the Bible app. Yes. And I use that. And so that's what I do. But I don't get out the bed. And then I take my prayer out of the bed. I'm in the shower. I pray a lot in the shower. And I definitely pray in the car because I'm always talking to myself and to God. Yeah. And the shower in the car,
and
for
I
sure.
think that is, I was listening to a sermon recently and the preacher says, how do you expect to have a relationship with God? One, if you do all the talking, but if you don't let him do the talking, like it should be like a conversation, right?
Yes.
So you're talking, and then there's some time for you to listen a little bit, and then, but
Yes.
it's like a conversation.
Definitely.
That's how you go to a relationship. You have to have give and take.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was fascinating because I felt like before my prayers were really a lot. Well, one side, it'd be a monologue.
Oh.
I'm going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then finally, I'm just like, okay, I'm done.
Yes.
And it's like, I have heard nothing.
Absolutely. I'm guilty of that. It's like, I realized, I said, well, gee, I don't even know God's voice.
Did he respond?
Or did I tell myself that?
And the cool thing is that high school, this time is when you begin to learn to hear how God speaks to you.
Yes.
So you're going to get to know right now by bringing him some, issues. I'm dealing with this person. How do I deal with this? How do I do well in this class? What do I do? I'm having a disagreement with my parents. I can't, take it to God to let him
guide and lead you. Yes.
And it really helps. I remember one time I was dating this guy. This was law school, and I could not figure out why we were not at peace. Okay, why this was not working. And I remember I could not get an answer. I said, God, I'm going to ask you every day. I would light a candle every day for like 2 weeks. And literally maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I got it was like a message that said, this is what's happening.
Yes.
I thought, what? Right?
Yes.
It does work.
Yes.
It does work.
Prayer works.
It works.
Yes.
Okay. Hallelujah, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here, let's do a couple more. We're running almost at the end, but I want to just kind of slide a couple things in. Parents sometimes speak in riddles. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. We have talked a little bit about that in this show, and so sometimes we bring up some of the things that parents have said. Now, here's one. Today's riddle: don't grow up too fast. What does that mean, Auntie?
Listen.
What does it mean?
I speak in riddles and I say, gee, I sound like my mother or my grandmother, right?
Yes.
And I vowed I would never be them when I had kids, but here I am today. But listen, Sugar, you are only a young lady for just a short period of time, 18 years. Like really, and it goes fast. And if you live to 100, let's just say you live to 100. So 100 minus 18, that's a lot of time to be an adult. A lot of time to grow up and explore and do things. So I always tell my sons, because I'm like, listen, you have the rest of your life to do that.
Right.
Right now at 15, it doesn't fly.
No. Right. Try. What you want to do is sort of try your best in these high school years to avoid the risky behavior.
Yes.
Because what that does, when you make those type of heavy decisions that can really affect your trajectory, they can change your whole life. You mess around with the wrong person and get some kind of disease from them that can really derail you.
Yes.
Right? Or maybe you get pregnant and it was something that you were not intending to do.
Exactly.
Derailed. Not that you can't rebound and have a wonderful life, but it makes things more challenging.
More
right?
difficult. And life is hard enough.
It's hard enough.
You don't need to add anything to it.
So for the things you can control.
Yes.
Right? So you try not to try every drug out here, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Right? These type of things. You try to take, somebody told you to go straight home. You go straight home. Because maybe they've had a spiritual word that said today was the day that they wanted you to make sure that you didn't stop by this place because something bad was going to happen. You just don't know.
You just do not know. Mm-hmm. Slow down. It's going to go by so fast. Yeah. And remember the first thing I said, high school is like dress rehearsal. That 4 years go by so quick. Yes, you blink, it's done.
It's done.
So just slow down and don't rush, and definitely don't go at anybody else's pace.
Oh, right. Because don't people love to try to set your trajectory for you?
Yes.
That you should be doing this at this point in your life or not. No, you get your relationship with God and He will tell you how far and when to do and how fast to go.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I feel inspired. Thank you, Auntie
I was hoping
Kizzy.
that.
This is wonderful. Thank you for sharing your tea with us. Growing up in D.C. is hard, but Sugar, you don't have to do it alone. Join us every week for reliable answers to your questions. I'm Auntie M, Director of the High Tea Society. Contact us via IG at High Tea Society INC or by email. Email us at hello@highteasociety.org. And guess what? If you want to donate, we love that. Text Purple Tea, one word, to 44321. We have the tea to help girls succeed. Tools for excellence and achievement.
You've been listening to Ask Your Auntie with your host, Marisa Terrell, Esquire. The transition from girlhood to womanhood can be difficult without guidance. We have the tea to help girls succeed. When you can't ask your mom or G-Ma, ask your auntie.